Deep Shot Podcast, Season 4, Episode 39. Thought about this yesterday. Steven Jackson.
Steven
That's a good one.
Jackson
That's a good one.
I think that's the one. Only number I can think of off the top of my head outside Steven Jackson is Jamal Agnew. I'm pretty sure he was 39 for the Jags. I'm pretty sure.
I feel like I remember that. So I'm going to say you're correct. Well, welcome to another episode of the Deep Shot Podcast. We have got a big one. We've got to recap the first round of the college football playoffs. We finally had some good games. We had some teams on the road that won. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about the NFL Week 16 wrapping up here. Big win for the Jags. Big win for the Falcons, you could say, if you really wanted to. We're going to talk players of the week, deep thoughts, all of that. Before we get into that, make sure you guys are following on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the YouTube. All right, let's start with Friday night. Let's back it up. Get to Friday night. Alabama, Oklahoma. Alabama wins 34-24. Oklahoma now 0-5 all time in the college football playoffs. Bama has lifted the Oklahoma curse, and in dramatic fashion, people, dramatic fashion. Oklahoma started this game up 17-0. Ty Simpson looked like he was the same guy we saw him from the first Oklahoma game or from the, just from the Georgia game. Like he looked like he had not done anything to improve over the time they had off. It was exactly everything you can want if you're an Oklahoma fan. The defense is getting to him. Like I said, Ty Simpson looks bad. The offense looks like the best it's looked since week 4, week 5. I mean, John Mateer's getting the ball out. I mean, everything looks right. And then it all changed. They went, it was a 4th and 2, like inside the 10. They went for it. Instead of kicking the field goal to make it a 17-3 game, they did what they've done all year, which is go for it on 4th down, got aggressive, got the touchdown, great control. I think it was 17 that scored a touchdown. The way he broke the tackle, was able to spin into the end zone. Beautiful, beautiful football there. They get that touchdown. Then they get, there's a 3rd and 2. John Mateer decides to throw a wide open pass when he could. People were saying he could have ran. He could have ran for the first down, no doubt. But he had a man wide open down the field. He drops it. That could have made it 24-7 instead. The very next play, the Oklahoma punter forgets that you have to punt the ball. You can't just drop the ball on the ground and it goes down the field. So Alabama gets 3. Then John Mateer throws a pick 6. It's tied up. Bama never looks back. They became the more aggressive team on offense. The Ty Simpson and receivers were connecting. The defensive line was getting to Mateer. They sacked him 5 times. Just a total flip of how the game started. The Lou Groza Award winner for Oklahoma misses 2 kicks in the 4th quarter. Just insane stuff. Bama wins the game with 32 rush yards. Just what they've done all season. But for the first quarter, they looked like they were dead. They were out. Kalen DeBoer was going to Michigan. And by the end of it, you're thinking, wow, how about that? They still have life in this team.
Yeah, so Oklahoma, if you did not know, is now home to the 2 biggest blown leads in the college football playoff. Friday night and then the Rose Bowl against Georgia, both up by 17 points. I think that was what it was in the Georgia game as well. Blowing both of them, so that's got to sing. That's got to sing for Oklahoma. But I'll ask y'all two a question. When we're looking at this game, because I know how I feel, do you think this was more Alabama winning the game or Oklahoma losing the game? Because I feel like it's Oklahoma losing the game.
I agree.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And it really all, I mean, we can talk about the Lou Groza Award winner missing 2 field goals. Both were within 50 yards. I think one was like 51 perhaps that he was just short on, and then missing the kick to try and cut it to 7 late, which probably wouldn't have mattered. John Mateer has really regressed. He's really regressed. And you look at the stat sheet, it doesn't look terrible, but just watching it in real time, every single time Oklahoma really needed a downfield throw or needed him to use his athleticism a little bit to extend plays, maybe rattle off a 25-yard carry to really turn the momentum. Felt like he never could do it. And Ty Simpson was able to make some plays, but I mean, Oklahoma, I think you said it the best, Garrison, on your post. Oklahoma folding like a lawn chair, and I think that's the best way to put it. They absolutely folded.
And I definitely think, before Kev says anything, I think they lost that game way more than Alabama won it. I totally agree.
I mean, okay, yes, sure. I think that's the case. But to say that to me, dismisses what Bama accomplished the other night. Like, okay, yes, you could say that Oklahoma folded at the end of the game. However, they were down 17-0, came back, fourth and goal conversion, got it, which, by the way, was Latsier Brooks' first touchdown of the entire season. Hard to believe 17 hadn't scored yet. And his
scored twice.
Post-game presser was pretty funny about it because he was like, I didn't know what to do. I just started screaming. But to get that, then block the punt, which was, yes, Oklahoma's issue, but they made the play. They made the play.
Block the punt. I
Listen,
mean, block the punt is aggressive.
Tim Keenan stomach, and then it goes back to Oklahoma in the grand scheme of things. Or the punter could have just drop kicked it if he was smart enough. I don't understand why he didn't do that.
But I think he literally forgot he has to lift his leg.
Yeah, it was bad. It really rivaled the Youngway Koo field goal that we saw earlier this year where he just kicked the ground. Two of the worst special teams plays we've ever seen.
Yeah, no joke. I'm still just my takeaway from this though is I'm more impressed with Bama after this, to be honest with you. You ran for 34 yards. You scored as many points as you ran for rushing yards in a game, and you win it. I mean, that says something about your offense. And it was clear as day during the game they could not run the ball. I think they had the longest run since like September in week 2 in the middle of the game, the Daniel Hill run. That, by the way, he didn't even go where the blocks were intended. He just cut it all the way back across the field, just being an athlete. And just made a play. All that being stacked against them, being down 17 zip on the road, and yeah, you get lucky with a little bit of special teams blunders by Oklahoma with 2 missed field goals. But if you watched the game and you saw the game was going to be played anyways, you didn't want to be in the position to kick field goals. Oklahoma's offense should have been better. And Bama, same thing. You didn't want to take 3. There was no situation there because you didn't feel comfortable. We saw that, in fact, all over the first 2 games of the college football playoff. A little windy in the Midwest. You don't want to necessarily be kicking it in those games. You want to try and go goal to goal.
Big 12 country. That's what happened. Yeah, but just insane. Alabama's obviously going to go play Indiana in the Rose Bowl. We'll obviously get to preview that later, but it is impressive by them because as somebody who picked Oklahoma to win the game, I still feel like I made the right pick in a way. It was 17-0. I mean, I can't account for punters forgetting they have to punt the ball and, pick sixes and things like that. So props to Alabama for winning the game.
No, but let's not even you say that. And you did. By the way, your pick was not right, by the way, in case you didn't know. But they also ran up the check in the second half and made Mateer look like he forgot how to play football in multiple times in this game. I mean, the pick six, he was throwing it to nobody but Bama players over there. There's nobody there.
Atrocious. That was the one thing you cannot do in that situation. It's 17-10. You can already feel the momentum shifting. You're at midfield. And
hilarious. I had a coworker text me during that, when it was 17-0. He said, I think it's a little early, but I called it. And then, 10 minutes later, it's the tie ball game. And I said, I think it was a little early, but you jinxed it.
I don't think anybody thought when it was 17-0. I mean, you go on Twitter, and I texted you guys about it. I mean, when it was 17-0, I mean, there was a lot of talk about, here we go, Bama's, they should have been out of the playoffs. Three loss team in the playoff. What do you know? This team sucks, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can't be calling the game in the second quarter, people. Mm-hmm. This is why they play 60 minutes. If you didn't know, it's the same reason that James Madison covered the spread, because they play 60 minutes. That's how it works. All right. You don't get I don't know what was that take? We said one team, if they played 3 quarters, they'd be the best team in football. I don't know. Somebody said that at one point during the season. I can't remember what team it was. But congrats to Alabama. They're moving on to play Oklahoma. Let's talk about the second game of the playoffs. Miami 10, Texas A&M 3 in Kyle Field. I just want to say this real quick. I made that video yesterday of me sleeping and waking up and the game being over. A lot of people in the comments tell me I'm a casual. I don't really like football, blah, blah, blah. To those people, I just wanted to ask you, where are your takes? Where are your takes? Where is your video? Where's nothing? You didn't have one. You just come on there when the game's over and you like to say whatever. Like Brett Crumley, I'm sure you're a listener. You had nothing to say on my video before the game, but then after the game, you wanted to tell me that Carson Beck handled the A&M defense, which I don't know if you watched the same game as me. He didn't. But anyway.
He threw for a whopping 103 yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the passing touchdown he had was a little shovel pass right there. So anyway, I would just say that, I do talk about football a lot and make a lot of videos on it. I would think I know a little bit. But anyway, that game was a snooze fest a little bit. And it wasn't just because it was low scoring. It was because there was no drama. It seems like there was never a time where you were like, oh, look what's happening here. It was just missed field goal, interception, fumble, missed field goal. And it never felt like either team was taking control or somebody was taking control back of the game until the last 5 minutes, really. Until A&M gets that field goal to tie it at 3 with 5 or 6 minutes ago. Then they, or maybe it was more than that, but then they get the fumble from Malachi Toney. They still don't do anything with it, or maybe that was before how they got set up at 3, but I think it was already tied at 3. Until all that started happening, and Mark Fletcher runs for 75 yards, and then they get a touchdown. There was nothing that made that game oh, wow, this is exciting. If you want to just watch nothing be scored, you go ahead. But Miami, to the defensive line in that game was just absolutely incredible. They, on both teams were, but Miami obviously won the game, so they made a little bit more plays. They caused Marcel Reed to have 3 turnovers. That was another thing we talked about in the preview is, what quarterback was going to make which quarterback was going to make less mistakes. Well, Marcel Reed had 3 turnovers. Carson Beck had none. So that was really the difference in the game. Carson Beck didn't have a great game, like I mentioned. He only threw for 104 yards, but he didn't make the "oh no, what are we doing" mistake here. And Marcel Reed did it on literally to lose the game. Had a chance. I don't understand why they're not trying to use his legs in that situation. I mean, you have 4 opportunities from the 2-yard line, and you have a quarterback who's known for using his legs. I don't understand that at all. But Miami gets a huge win, and tough look for the Notre Dame crowd to see Alabama and Miami win. The 2 teams that they said they should have got in over. Insanely low-scoring game, but the last 5 minutes were electric. Malachi Toney and Mark Fletcher were the best players on the field when they were on the field. You could say Ruben was the best player on the field overall if you wanted to. You'd have that argument. But when Malachi Toney and Mark Fletcher were on the field, they were the best players on the field, and they were basically the whole reason Miami won this game.
Yeah, no, 100%. And listen, I'll back your take. This was a pretty boring game. It was a pretty boring game. It was, this was a classic defensive slugfest, right? A little offensive struggle. Not every time those games happen, they're boring, but there was hardly any, we didn't have a pick six or a scoop and score, a huge fumble return to the 3 to shift momentum crazy. It happened a couple of times, but every single time it happened, the offense never could cash in. I mean, there was 5 missed field goals in this game, which, to be fair to the kickers, I think they had 30-mile-an-hour winds in that one. Molly McGrath's hair was flying everywhere when she was on the camera. But yeah, I mean, this was you're right. It came down to Marcel Reed is just not a quarterback. He's not a quarterback that you can really rely on when things get hard. Both of their losses this year, which is unfortunate because they were 11-0, that they lose the last 2 games this season. That's tough. But both their losses, they were in it. Marcel Reed, really bad turnover. That's how they've lost both their games this year. And I'll also say this, that last interception that Marcel threw, he had the guy in the end zone. If he puts it out in front of him, bang, it's a tie game. I was watching it, and I saw it develop, and I was like, oh, he's got him.
It seemed like he was late too. He was a second or 2 behind of when he should have been throwing it. He missed the win. It was inaccurate and it was late. That's what it seemed like.
He held down triangle just way too long, and then he had the flick stick to the left. You can't do that. You can't do that. But yeah, player of the game for me in this one was Mark Fletcher. I mean, that dude was running like it was his job in the fourth quarter. Absolutely balling. The 56-yard carry to really put him in position to take the lead late. And yeah, listen, like I said on the last podcast, Miami's a team that I wouldn't be surprised that can make a run. I don't think so anymore. I think Ohio State's going to be able to take care of them pretty easily next week. We'll see. But yeah, great win for Miami on the road. College Station's not an easy place to play. It's a shame Johnny Manziel wasn't there to see it, but good win for the Canes.
What happened there?
He was supposed to be the game day guest. I think he thought the game was in Miami because he was in Miami the night before. So I'm thinking he thought the game was in Miami, maybe. It's like, oh, shit.
Classic mistake.
Funny, you guys both said this game was lame. The first thing I wrote down is I love this game. And that's even coming from a guy that likes offense. I get it, score points, right? But it just felt like
or some.
It was who can screw it up the most contest at some points, And by the way, the kickers, did they not watch what Pat McAfee had going on in front of him in pregame? That guy kicked one. It looked like it was going straight down the middle, the first kick, and it gets swept away by the wind. I mean, if you didn't obviously think kicking was a bad idea, like we talked about in the Oklahoma game, you could have watched them the night before and figured out, hey, we probably need to go for it a little bit more than what we're doing. Just bad decision making. I know we still made 2 field goals. They missed a ton though, and there was ugly misses too. But if you watch the game from start to finish, and let's say you're betting on one of the teams, because I mean it was a 1.5, so I mean it's gonna be tight the whole time. I thought it was pretty riveting to see, and I didn't have nothing else going on. I was just locked in on the game. But last week my analysis was Marcel Reed's gonna be the problem. I don't trust him, and that showed up to be the case and to be true. Le'Veon Moss gave him a little bit of a bump in the run game, but I felt like they should have ran Marcel Reed a little bit more than what they did. Like in the first quarter, they were doing it. It was just 7 or 8 yards a pop, and they just got away from it completely. Don't understand that, and just assume that he could be able to throw the ball. And look, the 2-minute drill at the end of the game was awesome until they decided to put the ball in the air with Marcel Reed again. I really don't understand run the ball, especially when you get down to the 2-yard line. I know you threw your way down there, but if you're Texas A&M and you have your identity, you should believe that you can pound the football in on the goal line to get you into the next round of the playoffs or whatever it may be, even overtime. So, look, I think Mike Elko, though, they're going to be probably a little bit better next year. We'll see if they do anything different in the quarterback situation. I assume Marcel Reed's going to be coming back next year. Maybe they look to bring in some competition of some sort, but Texas A&M would be just fine. Just fine.
Yeah, I think they'll still be good. And I think really it didn't seem like Mario Craver and Concepcion were really like big X factors in this game like they probably should have been. So that, I mean, there you go with that. Their run game was pretty non-existent the whole game. I mean, they were getting beat on the line of scrimmage, it seemed like, on the offense and on defense. Like Miami was pushing them when Miami was on offense. Obviously, Mark Fletcher ran for like 175 yards. And then on the defensive side, on Miami's defense was obviously causing havoc all day, which a tough look for that Texas A&M offensive tackle that said in his press conference he didn't think Reuben Foster would be a problem. Also,
Yeah,
Reuben
that's not
Foster
good.
didn't know what that guy looked like.
You mean Reuben Bain, right?
Reuben Bain. I keep saying Reuben Foster. Reuben Bain. Reuben Bain is
Foster's good, though.
funny looking character. I mean, I just want to say that. But and also
Miami up front, dude, I think they're one of the formidable ones. They could give Ohio State a little bit of an issue. Just the quarterback play's got to be way better if they think they can compete against him.
Yeah. I mean, it's Carson Beck's going to have a way better. They're just, I mean, the offense in general is going to have to be way better. But that game, I feel like that game's going to end up being low scoring too as well in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Eve night. We'll talk about that a little later, but big game. And then obviously we had the last two games where, you know, we expected what we expected. Ole Miss smacked Tulane 41-10. Oregon was up 34-3 on James Madison within like a quarter. I mean, it was pretty quick. They started whooping. They scored a touchdown on their first 5 drives, and it took them like 6 plays or less each time. Okay, so obviously everyone's got to take, and I think we're all in conclusion the G5 problem that we had this season. It's a tough look, and I think we were talking about it last night, and I don't know if you were still there or if you had left, Caleb, but I was saying that we're going to end up in this situation where either well, here's the thing. People want the 12 best teams in, right? That's what everybody thinks we should have. Well, I don't think we're ever going to be in a situation where the conference champions don't have an automatic bid unless we just get rid of the conference championships. So do we think we're probably just going to end up getting rid of the conference champions to avoid having to give a G5 team a playoff? Or what's the solution here is what I'm asking.
If you get rid of conference championships, you're going to erase some of the fabric of college football. Those are important. SEC championship game has been held for how many years? You're just going to say no, just because for the sake of the playoff that these commissioners that know everything that they're doing and talking about and made the rules, by the way, to get the people in the playoffs that are in and screwed it up in the first place, we need to coddle to them and get rid of our 60, 70 years traditions. No, screw off.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So this is actually my deep thought. I was going to get into this because I was talking to some guys today. Because I think college football playoffs needs to be the 12 best teams in the country. Just put the 12 best teams in the country. And if it's a year like last year where Boise State is really dang good, then okay, all right, we get a G5 team in there. But years like this where Tulane and JMU, we knew that they weren't going to compete. We knew this. And you have Notre Dame at home.
They didn't earn it.
They didn't deserve it. But how the rules are, they get in. But we have Notre Dame sitting at home. We have Vanderbilt, who lost 2 games in the SEC. They're sitting at home watching. Those are 2 teams that probably should have been in the college football playoff, but instead we got JMU and Tulane. And I'll be honest with you, I hardly watched any of these games. I watched the first quarter. They're getting out of control. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to watch this Ole Miss just destroy Tulane. I started to watch the Ole Miss James Madison game. They missed 34-6 at halftime. I turned on the Bears and the Packers, and I watched that. And that's not good for the sport, too. It's not good for ratings. It's not good for any of this. So I'll say this. It should be 12 best teams, and then they should just write it in that if you are playing in the conference championship game, the only thing that can happen is you improve your seeding. That should be laid and written into law. So at that point, you don't have to get rid of the conference championship games, because I agree with you, Caleb. We don't need to get rid of the SEC championship. We don't need to get rid of the Big Ten championship. That's bad for the sport. But if we write it in, we say, okay, you go to the SEC championship game and you might happen to be the 3rd or the 4th team in from the SEC, you're good. Go in there, try and win. You can improve your spot. If you don't, you're good. Like they did with Bama this year. They lost the SEC championship game by 3 scores. They didn't drop it. They didn't drop a single point.
Well, you also, if they're going to do that, like I'm cool with that, but it needs to be more accountable on the people that are ranking these dudes every week. Because like Miami, when they lost their 2 games, you're going to end up being in the playoffs. They shouldn't have been at 17 or whatever they got dropped to when it happened. I mean, you've seen some outrageously ranked situations going on, and that's part of the issue as well. So there's things to be fixed. I mean, obviously, yes, the group of 5 this year was a lot weaker than what it has been in years past. I mean, even Boise would have smoked James Madison or Tulane if last year's team played this year's team.
Mhm.
You usually don't want a comparison, but you could tell me if anybody on James Madison's team could tackle Ashton Genty. There was a D tackle that he was not there in the midst of equal competition. It's just plain obvious. So.
Yeah. And I was saying last night is the thing with this whole scenario that we're in right now is college football, it's been going on for like 100 plus years. It was never designed to have a playoff. Like the way it's set up and the way we've been doing it, like it was never like the 12-team playoff like was never in the minds of the people who came up with the sport, or even like 50 years ago, and the way the bowl system is set up and everything. Like it was always set up for you think about it, before 2000, like right before we were born, the national champion was just decided by like a committee, and it wasn't played on the game. Like it was just like, yep, that team went undefeated and they won their bowl game. So, and they're number one. So we're going to give them that.
But then you could claim it too. Like you have 2 or 3 people winning in a year.
And so now that we have this 12-team playoff system and we've got all these conferences, not to mention all the things that have came with the playoff, you have to think about the mega conferences, the NIL, the transport, and all this stuff. It's just a mess. But I think we're more likely to get into a scenario where we don't have conference championship games we just get the 12 best teams, or 16 best teams, and don't give them automatic qualifiers. Like there's always going to be automatic qualifiers as long as there's conference championship games. They're not automatic qualifiers. The championship games won't matter and they won't have them. You know what I mean? So it'll be an interesting scenario where we end up.
They just need to bring the Pac-12 back. That would solve a lot of these issues.
I agree. And you got to think about it. Like when they made these rules for the playoff, like the Pac-12 was still a thing. Like they were the 5 highest ranked conference champions. Like it was supposed to be, the Pac-12 was supposed to be a part of that. And it's not. So that's just another thing. It's really just, I think maybe you could do the whole that you have to be ranked at a certain point. I think that's a little sticky some ways because, there's still people ranking you, and like that, like there could be, bias stuff like that. But it's just, my whole thing is I made that video on like Thursday night. Like it's, even if James Madison or Tulane would have somehow went and won this game, which it would have got loud if they did. But even if they did, like they didn't earn their way into the playoff. Like they did nothing. Like it'd be one thing if they were ranked 13th or 14th, and like we're like, oh, yep, they're like they weren't even in the top 20. It's such a flawed system. And to the guy on Twitter who was telling me the other day that my opinion has no effect on reality, so he doesn't know why I'm complaining. Well, no shit, brother. Like I'm just wanted to get my take out there. Again, these people just live behind their profile pictures and never get a take out there in the world, and love to just act like mine's stupid. So that's another discussion for another day. Let's talk about the NFL Week 16. Let's start on Thursday. Let's back it up.
Yeah.
Let's go even before Friday, because Thursday night was an absolute movie. If you missed it, if you went to sleep, you missed a banger of a game. Now, you thought if you were watching this game and you were sitting there in the fourth quarter and the Rams were up 16 points. They were up 16 points. It seemed like the Rams were about to walk away, saying, oh, Sam Darnold can't win the big game. Nothing new here. It is what it is. Rams win. And then all of a sudden, there was a stop, a Rashid Shaheed punt return touchdown. They get the 2 points. Now we're an 8-point game. They get another stop. They score a touchdown on like 3 plays after that. Then the wildest 2-point conversion of all time happens. I don't understand how they called that a backwards pass. I don't know how you could tell it was a backward pass, because it went like 1 yard, hit somebody's helmet, and then bounced forward. And then apparently the whistle also blew. And Caleb was saying yesterday, apparently that doesn't matter. I don't know. Either way, I don't know how you determined that it was already a backwards pass. I couldn't tell that it was. Anyway, they give them the 2 points. It's tied up. This game goes to overtime. The Rams kicker missed one to go up at one point, and it goes to overtime. The Rams score a touchdown. Puka Nacua has an awesome game, like over 200 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. And then the Seahawks go down the field, and they have a big drive and win the game, go for 2 to win it. Just absolute cinema if you missed it. Sam Darnold gets that big win that he's needed. Seahawks are number 1 team in the NFC. just an absolute instant classic. I mean, I think that was the best football game I've seen this season, either college or NFL.
Yeah, it was definitely the game of the year, I'd say. It was definitely the game of the year. I mean, maybe up until last night, because the Bears-Packers game was cinema as well. Week 16 in the NFL is absolutely delivering. Absolutely delivering. But yeah, I mean, we can start and end this discussion with that 2-point conversion, because me personally, I mean, I think it was a backwards pass. I mean, I think it was slightly backwards. It wasn't backwards by a lot, but I do think it was backwards. But yeah, and I'm shocked. Like when I believe it was Charbonnet who picked up the ball. I mean, he looked very lackadaisical. Just picked it up with one hand. Like, all right, throw this back to the ref and let's carry on. I think it was the right call. Honestly, I mean, it was weird. It was definitely really, really weird. But I think they got it right. I think they got it right. And then the balls of Mike McDonald to call a 2-point conversion right there. When I get it, like hindsight's 2020, and we can be like, okay, it's a smart decision. Yeah, you got the win. But I mean, to come down from down 16 with that time left, and it was getting really late. I mean, it's probably pretty tempting to be like, all right, let's kick it. Let's try and get a tie. Get out of here with something. But yeah. Hats off to Mike McDonald, excuse me. So, because if he would have kicked that field goal, the extra point, the game would have been over, or were they?
It was like 2 minutes left in the game. Like it was, I thought for sure they were going to go for 2 at that point. I mean, the way they came all the way back, like you said. Caleb, what did you think about the whole scenario? I think you said last night, you were the one that told me that it doesn't even matter if the whistle blows.
So, yeah, it doesn't matter if the whistle blows on those fumbles. Like, if you have a play that has been ruled dead and then somebody recovers it and you see it after the whistle had been blown on the field, it's whoever gets the ball. Matthew Stafford brought something up in the press conference that I found to be interesting, and this may have been just heating the battle, and I ain't seen the post-analysis on this at all, but he said on 2-point tries, and I think this is true for some levels of football, on 2-point tries, you cannot advance fumbles, which doesn't seem right to me because you would see people return interceptions on 2-point conversions in the NFL all the time. But I guess if it's considered to be downed in the end zone, then it would be like a touchback. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, weird. Very odd situation. I thought it was bold of them to overturn it because if I'm not mistaken, at first it was ruled incomplete, right? And then they reviewed it. So even to be able to go against him and say the play is not, stands, I feel like that's usually what the NFL would do in that spot. But weirder things happen in the NFL, and Sean McVay was not thrilled after the game. His post-game presser, he was livid, and rightfully so. I mean, Matt Stafford threw for 450, played his ass off, and they still did not get the results they wanted. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Seahawks turned the ball over a bunch too, and they still found a way to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it seemed like it was all but over. In like when the fourth quarter, they showed a stat during the game that said the Seahawks were like 0-175 all time when losing by 15 points in the fourth quarter, and then like the Rams were like 201 or something when winning by 15 points in the fourth quarter. So it was an absolute just insane finish that Thursday Night Football delivered. Let's move over to the Saturday game. So, like I said, if you didn't want to have to watch James Madison, Oregon, and Tulane, Ole Miss, the NFL was providing you some action. Eagles beat the Commanders 29-18. That game was kind of I wasn't really watching that one, just to be honest. But the Eagles, from the highlights I watched, Saquon, I said last week going into that, Saquon was going to get going, and he did. He's back, 132 yards on the ground. It's opening things up. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are connecting. What do you know? Everything's starting to go well for the Eagles. They look like they've all but locked up the NFC East, I think. Did they win it today? Let me check. Yes, they
Cowboys lost.
Cowboys lost. Yes, they clinched the NFC East with the Cowboys lost today against the Chargers. So they are the first team in the NFL to clinch their division. It's a big win for them. But the game of the Saturday was the Bears-Packers. 22-16 in overtime. Caleb Williams delivers an absolute dime to DJ Moore to win the game. It's been a great year for the Bears. What a story. Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur, the beef still, I don't know what the beef is with those guys, but they obviously don't like each other. Both post-game handshakes have been rough. Jordan Love went out in this game, so Malik Willis had to play. Just absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema. I'm going to lead with one question. So Caleb Williams, I know we're all aware that the Chicago Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. He's 600 yards away, 2 games left. Does he get it? Does he get it? Probably not. 300 yards is a lot of yards. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks who never get 300 yards. So, I mean, the opportunity is there. I hope he does, just for the record, because the acrylic assassin, Caleb Williams, is playing on another freaking level right now. You look at that throw he made last week to DJ Moore, and then those a couple throws he made in this one. The touchdown to make it a one-possession game was an awesome throw. Guy in his face, he had to put it right in the back corner over a defender. Awesome throw. And then the game winner, I mean, it's I know this is a repeated take, so I apologize, but it's crazy to see what a good head coach quarterback relationship can do for a quarterback. Because I'm thinking of two people off the top of my head that I feel like are playing better than anyone in the NFL right now. It's Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence. Not better than everybody, but they're playing really good, right? They're playing really good. And they both got really good head coaches. Ben Johnson's coming in there and has transformed Caleb Williams, and Liam Cohen's coming in and transforming Trevor. Did I call him Caleb Lawrence?
It was close. I think you almost did, but you switched points.
I stopped myself. The point remains. You understand what I'm saying? The Bears look dang good, and this was huge because they're two-game lead with 2 left to go. You got to imagine the Packers and the Lions are only 2 teams that can still catch them. I don't even know if the Lions still can at this point. I think they're just playing for the wild card. Huge win for the Chicago Bears. Huge win for, the Packers always beat the Bears. They always beat the Bears. And to be able to beat them like this, now, listen, if Jordan Love remained in this game, it might have been a little bit different. I think Malik Willis did a decent job, but there was definitely some times where you could tell like he was, we got a runner at quarterback at this point. He was able to make some plays there, but huge win, huge win for the Bears. It's all here. Caleb Williams is playing with a ton of swagger, a ton of confidence. It'll be a tough out in the playoff because they can run the ball. Caleb can make throws. They have good options at receiver. They're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, you definitely notice a difference in how the Packers were playing once Jordan Love went out, and it really looked different for Josh Jacobs. Like, he couldn't get the run game going once Love went out. They just kind of screwed in. The Chicago Bears screwed in on defense, said we're just not going to let him beat us, which was what they needed to kind of stop the offense and let Caleb Williams shine at the end of this game. And yeah, it's crazy. I want to give my hat off to DJ Moore, though, the receiver who caught this ball. I don't know if you guys have seen the freeze frame, but he literally had the DB's hands in front of his face mask like this, and his hands were out here, and he caught the ball at one point. Talk about elite concentration. Like, you can't even see your hands to catch the ball, but you reel it in to win it like that. And Caleb Williams putting his hands in the little hand warmer after the throw, just so cold. That is a different swagger that Chicago has not seen in a long time.
Trying to save the fingernails.
Yeah. The acrylic assassin.
Is it documented he's still doing that? Or?
I just like making jokes.
I feel like it is. I feel like we've seen the fingernails. No?
I mean, why never stop? I mean, maybe he's not. Maybe that's why everything changed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got a stat for you from this game, though. This is courtesy of a guy named Abe on Twitter. Okay, we're not going to do the last name. It's hard to pronounce. There have been 10 games this season where a team hasn't punted in the NFL. The Packers have 2 of them, and they've lost both games. The rest of the NFL is 8-0.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Not punting a single time and scoring 16 points. Did they turn the ball over?
I think they went, that and went for it a bunch.
Wow. Tough loss. Yeah, the Bears.
1 turnover. That's
the Bears pretty much have locked up the North. I mean, the Lions lost today to the Steelers. I mean, they have it. I can't, because of the Packers tie, I feel like, is it a 1.5 game lead or 2 game lead? I don't know. They basically have it wrapped up, though, it seems, if they just win one more game or, so that's huge. I mean, I don't think anybody came into this year thinking the Bears were going to win the NFC North. So, we all picked the Packers to do it. I remember that for a fact. Big win for them. Before we move on to Sunday, I just want to say, I know I mentioned that I saw Caleb last night. I just want to say, to everybody, this guy came dressed to impress last night at the Christmas party we were at. If you did not see the Instagram story that I posted, I'll just show the picture real quick that I took, just because this was beautiful. Look at this guy.
That's absolute swag.
Look at this guy putting the 6-7 hands up.
That's aura. That's aura.
That is Caleb Williams' core right there. Or Caleb Williams. Caleb Sphere. Do you guys look just like? I
just want his bank account, brother. That's all I need. I think we'll be good. If he can just give me about half what he's got, I'm straight. But look, shout out TJ Maxx. I'll slide you a little bit if he gives me some. I'll let you know. Shout out TJ Maxx for always coming through with the good outfits whenever you need them. It's a comfy suit too, by the way.
Yeah. That was a great one. Great one. Okay. Let's move into Sunday, though. Panthers beat the Buccaneers 23-20. The Panthers now have the division lead in the NFC South. The 2 teams do play again in Week 18, so it's not over yet. But the Bucs debacle this season has been insane. Like I think at one point they were like a minus 1,000 to win this division. Like, I mean, it was all but over. And they are now 7-8. They have lost 6 of their last 7. They have lost 6 of their last 7 games, including 3 straight divisional games to the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers. So just can't have that happen. And for the shout out to Bryce Young, the resurrection that guy's had this season, like Jake said earlier, you get a head coach in there that can really do things for you, and that they have turned his whole perception, career, everything's turned around, and the Panthers are like super close to the playoffs, and the Bucks. What happened? I mean, I don't. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, what happened? They got super banged up, but they're about healthy at every single spot now. They got both their backs back. They think this was one of their first games all season. They've had Igbuka, Evans, and Godwin all out there. Their whole line's back up. Tristan Wirfs is playing. So the excuses have kind of had to stop because their excuse was injuries. Now they don't have the injuries, and they just weren't able to come through today. Interesting stat from this one is even though the Panthers won, the Bucks still apparently have like a 60% chance to win the division because the Bucks next week I forget who it was.
It's like Dolphins.
They play the Dolphins. So the Bucks assume they're going to be the Dolphins next week, and the Panthers have to play the Seahawks and the Bucks to finish the season. So not a walk in the park for the Panthers at all. For the record, would much rather see the Panthers. I don't like the Panthers. I don't like the Bucks. Would much rather see the Panthers be able to figure it out and win this division. Would be pretty awesome to see. But I anticipate that game, Week 18, is probably going to get flexed to Sunday Night Football, and the entire NFL world is going to have to watch the 8-8 NFC South teams compete for a home playoff game, and that's going to be absolutely electric.
That's going to be gross. My pick last week was Panthers +3 in my NFL best bets, and I said it's because somebody, aka the Bucks, they just want to lose the division. Nobody wants to win it down there. The Panthers are like, all right, we'll take it, and money, and it could have been -3. And I think Jake even picked it, if I'm not mistaken, last week, and mistaked it to be -3. Mm-hmm. Still didn't work out, but look, Bryce Young, like you guys said, played a very efficient game, only took 2 sacks. They were able to run the ball, talking about Carolina pretty well, and spreading the ball out a little bit. And, yeah, I don't know what to say for Tampa. I understand they're banged up, but, yeah, you guys are right. Like, Godwin's back. Bucky Irving's finally back. And they handed it to him 20 times yesterday to the tune of 71 yards, and it just did not go very well for them. And too many punts, can't convert. In the red zone, you got woes. It's just the steam has ran out on Tampa somehow or another.
Yeah, I mean – I'll just say this. I mean, Liam Cohen's not there anymore. I mean, you're seeing issues with the Bucs that we have not seen the last 2 years when Liam Cohen was in Tampa, and now we're seeing it. Bears kind of taking a step down. I mean, that pick to end the game was not the best. He missed a couple guys. Also want to ask what the heck happened to Emeka Egbuka. He was incredible for the first, 7 weeks of the season. Since then, you haven't seen him. He had 1 catch, and it went for 40 yards. Why aren't they forcing the ball to their, standout rookie? I don't know.
Tough look. I'm looking at the Week 18 schedule here. We may be able to dodge the NFC South night game scenario. The Chargers play the Broncos that day, and the Ravens and Steelers play, and the Seahawks and 49ers play. And also the 49ers, if they win out, if you didn't know, they play on Monday night. They play tomorrow against the Colts. And then anyway, if they win out, they can go to the NFC. They can win the NFC West still. So just something to think about there. Bills beat the Browns 23-20. Bills really had control of this game for a while, and then Josh Allen had the weird run back play that was kind of roughed him up a little bit. Like he got sacked after running backwards 20 yards, and then it kind of gave the Browns a little bit of momentum, and they ended up losing by 3. Josh Allen and the Bills couldn't do anything in the second half because it seemed like he was a little roughed up, but they do get the win. James Cook has another great game. The Browns are just going to brown each and every game. That's just how it works.
Yeah, I mean, Shadur Sanders got the ball back in his hand, down 3, fourth quarter, and then you blink and it's 4th and 39 or 3rd and 39, and they're going for it. Geez, man, that's not good. Also, a big note in this one is Quinshon Judkins absolutely broke his leg in half. I mean, brutal. That is not good. Certified, not good. Not good. And I hate injuries. Not a fan.
You must be a fantasy owner, perchance, for maybe.
Thankfully not. The majority of this season, I've kind of been upset that I drafted Amari and Hampton in the Dynasty League, and Justin got Quinshon Judkins until today. I was like, oh, all right. I'm glad I didn't take him. Glad I didn't have him.
You're talking about that last drive where it ended up being like they were like 3rd and 48 on the 1-yard line or whatever crazy it was.
Yeah.
It was the Browns' protection was terrible, and Shedeur
Terrible.
had no time whatsoever. And that was the story of most of the game. I actually watched a little bit of this game, and I was somewhat impressed with Shedeur, what he's doing with what he's had in front of him, because they're not blocking. The Bills were in the backfield the entire day, and he's still able to have pretty decent completion percentage. And yes, he did turn the ball over twice. He did take those 2 sacks, for those are the ones that we're talking about on the last drive. Before that, though, he was getting the ball out and mostly protecting it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, judging what we have seen of Shedeur Sanders so far, and listen, this is coming from a guy that does not enjoy Shedeur Sanders. I think he's doing a decent job.
Yeah. I mean, he's not shitting down his leg yet.
No.
He's not. And I
He's
did
doing
like
better than Dylan Gabriel was.
I did like I saw a clip from his press conference when they asked him, like, did you think it was the right move to go for it on some play? I can't remember what play he was talking about, but he was like asking it for. He was like, dude, what's up with you guys? You guys just love asking questions that
Divisive.
Yeah, like, so I like that. Okay, Chargers beat also that game's huge because now the Patriots, are a loss away from giving away the division. So big game there, big win there for the Bills. Chargers beat the Cowboys 34-17, absolute thraxing there in Dallas, in Jerry's world. I think Dallas is officially gone from the playoff picture at this point. They didn't score a single point in the second half. The Chargers, I mean, it seemed like a couple weeks ago, like when they beat the Eagles on Monday night, and it seemed like the reason they won is because Jalen Hurts was giving them the game. I was a little bit worried about, Herbert and the hand and just the way the offense was looking, and they just have taken care of business since then. They look really good. They've won 4 in a row. Obviously had the big win against the Chiefs last week. Get the big win today. Got the Texans and the Broncos to finish off. Like this is still a team that has a chance to be the number 1 seed, a chance to win the AFC West, and they seem like they're hot at the right time, playing like everything's playing, every facet of the game's going well for them. They have like the most accurate kicker of all time on their team. So Chargers looking great.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that this is the same team that we saw go to Jacksonville just a month ago and get beat 35-6. Like, it's hard to believe. I mean, the Jags are playing out of their mind. I'm not even saying this is like an anti-Jags thing, but like it's crazy to think that. I mean, they're 11-4, and one of their losses is by 4 touchdowns to the Jags. So I'll say this: number one thing that stands out to me about the Chargers, and I think will be a microcosm of how far they're going to go in the playoffs, and if they're going to be able to make a deep run, is Quentin Johnston, because he came through today, 4 catches, a $104, and then 1 touchdown. And one of that touchdown, he caught one-handed, got draped all over him. He was able to bring it in. When Quentin Johnston is on, it's a much needed receiving option for the Chargers, because he is their big body. He is their deep threat. Outside of Ladd McConkey can maybe shake a guy and get free. Quentin Johnston's the guy you're going to need on 3rd and 7 to be able to post up and make a big play. They don't really have many other options outside of him. So seeing Quentin be able to make some plays again, breathe some fresh life in him, because early in the season, Quentin Johnston was playing out of his mind, and then he kind of fell back off. And then that was when we started seeing the Chargers regress a bit. So seeing him step up today is really big for him.
Yeah, they started getting away with his targets in the middle of the season. Wondering why that actually went on, and maybe he was banged up a little bit and has gotten healthy right here. But yeah, his explosives, like anytime they have it in a game, I'm sure if he has a catch over 50 yards, they're probably undefeated. That's my thought about the Chargers. Like, it changes the whole offensive perspective for the rest of the game, opens up the run game for Omarion Hampton, had a successful day. And yeah, Justin Herbert doesn't look like the injuries bothered him this week. I was a little concerned after the last couple of games like you guys were. And yes, sure, they've been winning, but you didn't think if it was going to continue to get hit in that hand, perchance, he would regress even more, especially going into this playoff run, or say a divisional run that they're trying to embark on right here. So I hate it for Dallas. Dak Prescott especially did think that they would ever really have the juice this year. They were competitive in a lot of games, but ultimately that defense was not good enough for them to be a playoff team this year. You saw it again this week.
Yep. Titans smoked the Chiefs 26-9. Called that one. Hand up. Called that one. Cam Ward, maybe best game he's had all season. 228 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, just want to shout out that guy. He has kind of took off the last month or so of the season. It would have been nice if he was doing that for my fantasy team, throughout the year. But he's been putting up numbers in my throwaway games. So shout out to him. The Chiefs also, Gardner Minshew. I don't know if he got hurt or what happened, but
tore his ACL.
No way.
Did he really?
Wow. So
what's going on? What's going on in Kansas City?
So a guy named Chris Duncan played for the Chiefs today. So Chiefs are, I don't know if they're going to win another game. But shout out to the Titans. Shout out to the Titans. We don't have to go that deep into this, but I just wanted to shout out the Titans because that was a bit of a nothing game, but good for the Titans. Good for the Titans. Might not have the number 1 pick though, so we'll find out. Bengals, another throwaway game. Bengals beat the Dolphins 45-21. Quinn Ewers has his first start. Doesn't go too well for him. Chase Brown has an awesome day today.
Awesome.
3 touchdowns today. Good for the Bengals to kind of get it. They moved to 5-10. So Dolphins, after they lost to the Steelers on Monday night, they decided to bench Tua because he was, terrible, and then he was like laughing after the games. Interesting to see what happens. What do you like? Tua's probably not going to be a Dolphin next year, I assume. What do you?
No chance.
No, when you bench a guy like that in the mid-season like this, and then you put him as the emergency quarterback on your roster, no, he's toast.
Also says
they're
a lot
going to
about
eat so much money off of that too. I think it's like $90 million.
Also says a lot about the status of Zach Wilson that he doesn't even get to play, and they go straight to Quinn Ewers.
Which is stupid. That's dumb in my opinion. He's been the QB2 all year, and I think the only thing is I feel that's Mike McDaniel just trying to be like, hey, let's see the rookie, and hopefully Quinn Ewers goes off and he can save his job. It did not happen.
Saints beat the Jets 29-6. Tyler Shuck, beast. I'm ready to say it. Saints might have a little something. He has just been winning. He's just winning as the Saints quarterback. Sure, it's not against the best competition, but he beat the Bucks. He beat the Panthers. He beat the Jets today. Did you know the Jets don't have an interception all year? They don't have an interception all season long.
That's not very good.
It seems like impossible. Like at any point, how many games they played? 15? 15 games, no interception.
Yeah. Craziest stat of this one is Tyler Shuck, 308 yards.
Yeah. Dang. Gamer. Threw the ball 49 times today.
Think Aaron Glenn, why has he not been fired yet? What's going on there?
Oh, well.
Dude, he's going to get himself fired. He fired the defensive coordinator, then they turn around and give up 29 points to the Saints the next week. He's going to get canned.
He's a defensive coach. To be honest, Aaron Glenn was the defense coordinator for a team that was awful on defense last year and got a head coaching job. Just throwing that out there. Vikings beat the Giants 16-13. Very big nothing game. AJ McCarthy went 9 for 14, 108 yards and a pick.
Let's go 9. Fumble. He fumbled it, got returned for a touchdown. He also threw a pick 6 that got called back for a penalty. But 9 was in prime form today. 9 was balling.
Yeah, Jackson Dart was not. 7 for 13 for 33 yards, dude. At one point, he was 2 for 5 for like 13 in a pick. It was not a good start, especially if you start him in fantasy. My dynasty team flopped today, boys. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Jackson Dart just did not show up. He didn't get off the bus.
Okay, afternoon slate. Let's talk about it. Jags beat the Broncos 34-20. Huge game. Could be the best team in the AFC right now. Trevor Lawrence has a great game. The Broncos, you thought there for a second, it was classic. Oh, can the Broncos make a comeback? They had it, looked like it for a second. They don't. Jags fend them off. That's the sign of a great team. Broncos lose their first home game of the season. I saw your boy Art was there, Caleb. I saw this Instagram story today. It's a tough time to take a loss. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, come on, dude. It was like they, you go back to like week 5 when they're beating the Chiefs. They're 4-1. Then like mid-season, Jake's on here saying that, they might be done. This team's not good. And then they obviously listen to the Deep Shot podcast because they found something, and they have won 6 in a row, have a, still haven't clinched the AFC South. The Texans are right there. But they have got some really good confidence. They are playing maybe the best football in all of the NFL right now.
I don't think that's crazy to say. I think they're playing like a Super Bowl contender. They're playing a Super Bowl contender. And I'm going to be really interested this week. I'm not sure if y'all been seeing the Richard Sherman stuff because a bunch of Jags fans were going after him saying, can you talk about the Jags? You talk about all 30 other 31 teams in the NFL. You never talk about the Jags. And he was like, yeah, I don't really care about them. I think they're fake. Like, I don't think they're real. Listen, man, fake teams don't go into Denver and beat them by 2 scores. That doesn't happen. Trevor Lawrence, another game, 4 touchdowns. should have had a fifth if Jacoby Myers would have held on to that ball in the end zone. Probably could have gotten the podcast started a little bit earlier if he would have. But, I mean, another great game. Travis Etienne scored another touchdown today. He's been a weapon in the receiving game. And I also shout out number 11, Parker Washington. 6 catches, $145, and a touchdown, a long of 63. When he's on, this team is tough because when he's on and they have 3 really good wide receivers along with their 2 really good backs and a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence who can run the ball, they're tough to stop. And then I also shout out the Jaguars defense, being able to get after Bo Nix. His stat line looks awesome. But there was a lot of times in this game where the Broncos had a couple big plays, and then they'd be able to stop them. What's the saying? And do not break. And they were not breaking. They were holding the field goals. They had a big missed field goal early in this game to swing some momentum to the Jaguars' side. And just another classic Liam Cohen masterclass. Out-coaching everybody. He is the coach of the year at this point. There's nobody else. It has to be Liam Cohen. It has to be Liam Cohen. To think about what the Jaguars looked like last year, to now they're 11-4. He is the coach of the year. And I'll say this. So when I was on the podcast talking about the Jags might be done, like I'm not really sure about this team. If you remember, they blew I think it was a 19-point fourth quarter lead to the Houston Texans. A tough loss. And if they would have won that game, they would have won that game in Cincinnati that they really should have, or they let Jake Browning walk them down for a game-winning drive. They'd be sitting at 13-2 right now. Would have probably already clinched the AFC South, would have clinched the AFC. But in a weird way, I think that loss to the Texans woke them up in a lot of really good ways that they needed. Because since that game, this has been a completely different squad. I would not want to get matched up with them in the playoffs. Would not.
It's definitely very impressive to see them go into Denver and do this on that defense. And talking about being that efficient on drive-to-drive basis and not turning the ball over, everything you need to do to go on the road and win. And like you said, make some plays with special teams or let some misfortunes happen with missed field goals and stuff. But yeah, you're right. They've had some close margins of loss in some games that you already talked about, and they are a legitimate contender. And Liam Cohen, I don't have any argument against anybody else for him to be the coach of the year. I'm just super impressed with Trevor's consistency the last couple of weeks. It has been good, but it's been consistently good. Like there hasn't been much or less drop off. And this is, again, it gets probably what the number 1 or 2 unit coming in this game in the league on defense. Incredible. Bo Nix had to throw the ball like 47 times in this game in order for them to try and score 20 points. And even then, it was just like he had a lot of yards, but it was never timely. They turned the ball over, wasn't good on 4th down. And you look up and you've lost by 14 at home. And Denver was in full control of probably what I would say the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's on life alert now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, the AFC number 1 seed seems like, I mean, it's open for taking. Mm-hmm. The Jags, the Broncos, the Patriots are still in it. The Chargers I mentioned, like it's anyone's ball game. So big win for the Jags, big win for the Atlanta Falcons today too. 26-19 over the Arizona Cardinals. So 3-12 Arizona Cardinals. 4 wins on the road this year. 4 to 6 wins the Falcons have are on the road dogs, or whatever you want to call them. Let me just say this: good for Kirk Cousins. I mean, the guy had a rough year. A lot of Falcons fans were giving it to him, because of the way last season was, and he apparently was playing hurt and, just shit down his leg and shit the season down the drain last year. But for him to come back in this scenario, we all remember the Thursday night crazy win they had last week, and for them to win this game, good for him. Bijan Robinson's been playing awesome. I mean, we know Bijan's awesome, but he's been going insane. Kyle Pitts has been coming back. The offense is finding itself. We're going 8-9. Raheem's keeping his job, but we won. And for a team that doesn't have a first round pick, it really doesn't matter whether you win or lose at this point, because it doesn't do anything for you. So just good to win. Good to win. It's nothing like getting hot at the wrong time, though.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, it's like the best teams in NFL history. Like you have the 82 Bears. You have the 1972 Miami Dolphins that had the perfect season, the 2007 New England Patriots. And then you have the Atlanta Falcons after they've been eliminated from the playoffs, because this is the same thing we see year after year. They stink it up. They start slow. Middle of the season, you get your hopes up a little bit. Oh, this Falcons team might be for real. Then they lose a couple more. They get kicked out the playoffs. And then just like that, bang, they figured it all out. And it's, we're sitting at 6-9 right now. The leading team in the NFC South is 8-7. And we're still in week 16 going into week 17. And we don't have even a shot to the playoffs, which is just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But yeah, I mean, to your point, Garrison, yeah, big shout out to Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's playing himself into a starting role next year, whether it's with the Falcons or wherever it's somewhere else. Somebody's going to take Kirk. Somebody's going to take him, whether it's us or, probably somebody elsewhere is probably looking at the situation, looking at that contract. Well, the Falcons are probably going to be paying it. We'll take him. He'll come play here for cheap. He has a veteran presence, and they'll rock with him because Kirk has been playing really well recently. And probably should have been the quarterback all year, if I'm being completely honest.
Really? You actually think, okay, I'd have not heard from other places or anywhere that like, okay, let's bring Kirk back.
Well, if you think about it, so if you break down his contract on a year-to-year basis, well, it's like a 4-year, 180 or something like that. A lot of his contract is paid for at this point, like over like $160 million has been paid for at this point. So, why not bring him back? And see, he'll be cheap. Bring him back, and he'll play quarterback for you. I mean, why not? Especially, Penix isn't going to be ready for week 1. So why not bring back a guy who's be his 3rd year in the system? He knows it. But then it's interesting because Kirk has been playing the last few weeks, the best quarterback play we've seen. Outside of like week 1, I think Michael Penix played a really heck of a good game week 1 against the Bucs. Since then, Kirk has been the best quarterback on the team. So what do you do? What do you do when Kirk comes out there week 1 and plays good, and then week 5 when Penix is back, and what do you do?
That sounds like somebody who wants to win with Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris running the show and Kirk Cousins under center next year.
Well, I will challenge that thought because, number one, yes, I am so ready for Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson and company to get out of town. Do I actually think that Raheem Morris is going to do it? That Arthur Blank's going to do it? I don't know. Think about all those years that we brought back Mike Smith when it was clear that it wasn't working out. All these years that we brought back Dan Quinn when we knew it wasn't going to be working out. Arthur Smith, we brought him back probably a year late after we probably should have fired him. And then if Raheem can finish the season out strong, 8-9, I would not be shocked.
Team doesn't quit.
Not be shocked.
Team didn't quit on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, would not be shocked.
It'll be interesting. It'll be a total Falcons thing, so I wouldn't be surprised. Steelers beat the Lions 29-24. I watched this game. It was a crazy ending, but the third quarter, the Lions had like 3 plays the whole third quarter. Like the Steelers had the ball for the whole time, and they got a safety and a field goal out of it because the Lions ran 3 plays, and third play was a safety. It's a huge win. The Lions are on life support. Like they are probably not going to make the playoffs. Like they are sitting in. If I'm looking at the NFC playoff picture here. Let me pull it up. The Lions right now are the 8th team, and they're behind the Packers. I mean, it's just hard to get confident in this Lions team. I mean, they've lost 3 of their last 4, so they don't play the Packers anymore. They play the Vikings and the Bears to finish the season. It's really disappointing because for Lions fans, we all know how sad the franchise has been, and then like last year having that awesome season and it seemed like that was a great chance, and you lose both your coordinators. And you come out this year, and it's just like they're not finding ways to win. And if they miss the playoffs this year, then who knows what could unravel. But for the Steelers, I mean, that's a huge win because the Ravens, obviously, depending on what happens in this Patriots game that's going on right now, they may be able to like lock up the AFC North here pretty quickly. And Aaron Rodgers had a great game today. Gotta love listening to Tony Romo fiend over these quarterbacks, which he did today. But huge win for the Steelers on the road in a game that both teams really needed.
Yeah, for sure. And this was one of my best bets last week. The Steelers were +7. I mean, insane line. But I'll just say this because I did not watch much of this one because where I was, they were watching the Jags and the Jags only. But I was keeping up with it on my phone. The Detroit Lions had an opportunity late in this game to kick a field goal. Dan Quinn decides to go for it. Excuse me. It was his Dan Quinn move, but Dan Campbell decides to go for it. Doesn't get it. Steelers get the ball back. They get a stop. Then the Lions get the ball back. They could have kicked the field goal to win it if they just would have kicked field goals. And that's my issue with Dan Campbell because he is a great leader of men. He gets the entire team bought in on them every single year. I will never doubt that from him. But we've seen this so many times. Think about the 49ers game in the playoffs that they lost 2 years ago. Was another opportunity where they're just going for it on 4th down constantly, and it kills them. He's not very smart in terms of game management. He can build a roster, he can get them to fight for him, and he can get some wins. But when it gets down into the nitty-gritty, he constantly makes mistakes like this, and that's what keeps teams from winning championships. That's what keeps teams from winning big games like this one today, winnable games. They should have won this game. Kick 2 field goals, get out of here. You win 30-29. And we're also in a weird situation. I was just thinking about this when Garrison was talking. There's a real shot that 3 of the 4 teams that played in in Championship Sunday last week are out of the playoffs. If the Ravens lose tonight and they wind up not making the playoffs, both the AFC Championship teams are out. And then we already know the Commanders aren't going to make it. And then you got the Eagles. And the Eagles have had a bunch of issues this year. They're going to make the playoffs, but they have a lot of issues. But when do you see that from year over year? 3/4 of conference of Championship Sunday teams just not making the playoffs.
Yeah, the Lions, that was my first takeaway from this. It was that they need a play caller. They need a play caller big time, a new guy to come up there and take control of what's going on because they've been atrocious and situational. I can't remember the last time that they were so ineffective with the run game. 12 carries, 15 yards. Like Montgomery or Gibbs could not get the game going whatsoever. Just, I can't believe what I was watching today.
Yeah, tough for the Lions. Like I said, it's sad because, they're a fun team, but for them not to be in the playoffs this year, oof, man, that hurts some Detroit's feelings. And then last game of the afternoon slate, Texans beat the Raiders. Game was a lot closer than people probably thought it was going to be. Shout out Ashton Genty, had 128 yards today. Had a 69-yard reception as well, or 60-yard reception as well. So probably his best performance all year against the best defense in the NFL. But Texans finding a way to win. If they would have lost this, though, I feel like the Jags would have clinched the division today. Didn't happen. They're staying right on the Jags' tail.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not looking great, and this is what we needed to see. We needed to see the Texans start losing some steam, and was really hoping that they'd be when Ashton Genty caught that 60-yard touchdown. I was like, oh, maybe, but not quite. Not too sweating about this one because we kind of assumed going into today that Texans were going to be able to take care of business. So everything kind of stayed to plan. The biggest thing for the Jaguars needed to do today was take care of business in Denver. Whatever happens elsewhere, happens elsewhere. The Jags can clinch the playoffs tomorrow. If the Niners beat the Colts, the Jags clinch the playoffs. They do not clinch the South, but they'll at least clinch the playoffs. But, this is what we were expecting. But yeah, the Texans kind of look the most vulnerable they have in a few weeks today against a pretty bad Vegas Raiders team.
Yeah, I mean, they got the job done. I mean, they need to win to keep up in the division race. All that's great and good, but you guys are right. I mean, C.J. Stroud got the ball to a lot of people, but it still looked a little gross and how it all went down, even with him fumbling one time in the game. I mean, just don't want to see them play that sloppy going into the playoffs here, but look, got the dub. They're still in it. Okay, then that's the main team goal for them.
Yep. All right, well, that is Sunday slate. We got the Ravens and Patriots going on right now. Drake May just threw a red zone interception. Tough. Ravens already up 7-0. So we'll see. Patriots might be on. Have the Patriots clinched a playoff spot?
I don't think so. After all the results today, I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
They have not.
That is close.
They have not. Okay. Interesting. All right. We'll see what happens in that game. All right, let's finish out with our players of the week in Deep Thoughts. Last week, Kyle Pitts wins in a very close matchup, so that takes the standings to me 6. You guys both have 5 wins, so I'll let one of you go, whichever one wants to start off.
It should be me, right? I haven't won in a while.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay, well, we're going to play for competition, boys. I'm taking Puka off the board. Just a hell of a day. 12 catches, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, was running his mouth the entire game, played very physical. Even I thought at one point or another he was going to get knocked out of the game, like he came up a little dizzy. After one of the catches, he got slammed to the ground a little bit, but monster if you had him in fantasy this week. He would have been huge for your team. He probably won, and that's going to be my player of the week, even though they lost.
Yeah, he did go off.
He did go off, and I was tempted to take Matt Stafford, but I'm taking Trevor Lawrence again. And the stat line isn't as gaudy as it was last week, the 350 total yards, 6 touchdowns. The guy played heck of a ball game today. 23 for 36, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 carries for 20 yards, and another touchdown to boot as well. So he has had 15 touchdowns since his last turnover. 15. That's a lot. That's a lot of touchdowns since his last turnover. The guy's been playing like the best quarterback in football over the last 5-6 weeks, and he made a lot of great decisions today. But I'll also say this, he didn't ever really put the ball in harm's way. There was never really a ball that was like, ooh, that was almost picked. Oh, gosh. And that was something that the last 5 years watching Trevor Lawrence that happens pretty consistently. You have those throws. Guys make good plays, making good reads. He's getting down on time. There was one, I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was like a 3rd and 6 on the Jags' last drive. And need to get the first down to ice it. And he's tiptoeing at the out of bounds and then dives to get the first to really ice the game. I'm just really proud of Trevor. 300 yards again, 4 tutties. Like I said, 15 touchdowns since last turnover. Best quarterback in football. Give him the MVP.
Give him the MVP. How about that? Okay, well, I'm gonna go a little outside the box. Chris Olave had a great game today for the Saints. 10 catches, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Shuck could have gave it to him, but I decided to give it to Chris Olave. Those are great stats. I'm gonna go with that one. I was thinking about Mark Fletcher, but he didn't score a touchdown in the Miami game, so a little hard to put that on the graphic without a touchdown. So I'm gonna go with Chris Olave. All right, and then let's finish out with our deep thoughts of the week.
Kind of already gave mine earlier. I don't spend too much time on it, but I just think at this point, looking at the G5 teams last night, getting waxed, we just need to get rid of all like auto buys. I don't believe in auto buys at this point anymore. Just make them play. 12 best teams. 12 best teams. If a G5 team is the top 12 team, then sick. If you're not, too bad. I just think it makes the most sense. Makes the most sense.
Caleb, go ahead.
My deep thought is tied to college football as well, but this is about Notre Dame. I think that they are a bunch of losers, especially after the results that happened this weekend. First of all, they've been pouting the whole time. Then we found out, but even before the results for this weekend, that they had like gotten with the committee and signed a deal like, hey, if we're ever in the top 12 next year, like you got to put us in there. And somebody said yes, which is a grand idea. So now other schools are thinking about like taking them off their schedule and boycotting them, which is great. I think they need to be put in their little corner because they think way too much of themselves. And then this weekend happened, and everything that they didn't want to happen happened. All the haters, all the motivators for Notre Dame football on Twitter, and whoever else wants to run their mouth, just the worst possible outcome. Loved it. Loved every second of it too, by the way.
Yeah. Pretty awesome to see. Pretty awesome to see because nobody was saying that, Texas A&M and Oklahoma shouldn't make the playoffs, right? It was all about Alabama and it was all about Miami. And then they're playing next weekend. Notre Dame is sitting on the couch. And then also the Xbox Bowl I think they were supposed to play in the Xbox Bowl, right? Something like that. The Xbox Bowl the Pop-Tarts Bowl is sick. Okay. It's awesome. And then the Xbox Bowl, you had Master Chief on a warthog driving out the trophy. And Notre Dame's too good for that. Get over yourself. Get over yourself.
Yeah. I love the whole, and I was somebody who thought, yes, Notre Dame in theory got boned because they were told the top 10. I was on their side. I was like, yes, and you're probably one of the best teams in the country. I agree. But the way they've acted about it is insane. No, we're better than these teams. Well, no, you actually lost to 2 of them. So you can't really say you would have beat every playoff team if you've lost to the 2 that you played. And I know you like to act like, well, we're better now and there's teams that win rematches. Well, yeah, no, fair enough. Again, you can go back to you're not in the conference, so you didn't have a chance to, get a 13th data point and do all of that stuff. And, you just can't really want. I just feel like I wouldn't have that mindset. If we lost the 2 games that really mattered, you can't really get mad at everybody else and be like, oh, well, we're way better. Oh, really? How did you prove it? By not playing? And you're not. We're way better. That's why we're not going to play football.
Yeah, they proved it by blowing out Arkansas.
Yeah, so my deep thought is something I was texting Jake and Ryan Justin earlier is, I understand that the money in the NFL and, why they need Sunday ticket, they need the red zone, all this stuff. But, it just not every college football game is nationally televised, but all the big ones are pretty much nationally televised. Everything you want to see, you can find. It'd be really cool if the NFL, if every 1 o'clock game was just on a different channel. If there was one on CBS, there was one on Fox, there was, ESPN got a 1 o'clock game, NBC had a 1 o'clock game, whatever. A Prime Video got a 1 o'clock game, something like that. I hate, and if you have NFL Sunday ticket, I know I was talking to Caleb and our buddy Parker Mackey last night and how much they love the NFL, and I was like, well, it's hard for me to just keep watching the Falcons, and that's the only thing I get every week. I just wish that the NFL would put all the games on national television and we wouldn't have to, pay all this money. I know, I know it's like that in the NBA and MLB too, but that one makes a little more sense because of how many games we're playing. But I just wish that I was able to watch, the Jags and Broncos game, and I wish I was able to watch all these other great matchups that we get without having to, fork out $1 million. So that's just my thing. I don't understand why CBS and Fox get to hold all the coins. I don't get why every other sport, it seems like not every other sport, but in college football we get to see all the games like all the time. College basketball you get to see all the games all the time. Like, but in the NFL, like we have, I don't know. Like, what's so bad about ESPN getting a 1:00 game and a 4:00 game? Just a thought. Just a thought.
Nothing's bad about that, but like I told you earlier, the amount of money that they generate by doing NFL Sunday Ticket and Red Zone and all this, and the amount of money that CBS and Fox pay them to be able to be the exclusive broadcasters of like 1:00 and 4:00 games in the NFL will never go away. Unfortunately, I wish it would. And not everyone's girlfriend's mom will buy them NFL Sunday Ticket and Red Zone, and I get that. And I resonate with that because I personally would not be able to live without it. I can't go on NFL Sunday without being able to throw on any game I want and be able to watch Red Zone. I can't do it.
Must be nice.
It is. It is nice.
Some people just got it all, folks.
Oh man. All right. Well, that will wrap up episode 39. Great episode. Really excited about these, quarterfinal matchups we'll get. And honestly, the NFL, we've got these big games. Rooting, Caleb's got to gain the root on these next 3 quarters. So good luck. Patriots are playing the Ravens down 7-0 as we speak. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram and TikTok. Next week or so with the episodes might be a little spread out or something. We're working on that stuff, but just make sure you're tuned in, and we'll see you guys when we see you guys. Deep Shot out.